But yeah, we will definitely have some stuff coming up real soon about all that real too.
So to get into the DAO, will it be like a buy-in in dollars or algo? Will you have to commit some type of like I'm sure you have to commit something, right? And what
Well,
will we have to commit?
naturally,
What are your guys'
we'll be
ideas for that?
offering a pulse token that will represent your votes to the DAO. You know what I'm saying? So once we have the DAO built and there's a voting feature, anyone can make a proposal. I'm not sure what we were gonna, what they've designed yet, because Meld Ventures is the ones primarily working on the infrastructure of the DAO.
I'm really excited for DAOs in general to come to Algorand. I know the Zestbloom founders are also working on KinDAO, right? Kind of another NFT focused one. But I think the natural outgrowth of a lot of these NFT communities is that they will become DAOs, right? It's trivially easy to kind of distribute DAO tokens, right, to NFT holders and these kind of things, or other ways to kind of bring these kind of communities together. And just take it from me, especially on Ethereum now. It's DAOs are just such a hot subject, right? Like, if those of you who are familiar with like FWB or Bankless, etc., there's just such a huge interest in people to buying in, getting seats on these DAOs, and just because I think it's just the ultimate expression of community, right? DAO tokens and NFTs, it's just a match made in heaven.
I think so too. And is that a sorry to interrupt you, Bilal. Is that
Yeah, sorry, I just saw Alex
Kyle,
raising his hand. Like, Alex, please, if you have anything.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
just
for
curious,
sure.
how long have you guys been collecting NFTs for in Algo? I know I started like mid-September, I think I started looking at them. That's when I figured out that Algo actually had them. I came across the Crypto Nerd video, actually. The one with Algoana's Alien Pride Art and I think Algo Bots.
Awesome.
Yeah, that video. I didn't know they existed.
Well, NFTs have
They've been around. Oh yeah, go ahead, Cody.
Yeah, I was gonna say NFTs have been around, but there just really hasn't been a market for it until like AB2 and Rand and stuff like that. I mean, I've had NFTs for a while, but I didn't really start really looking into them until Stitch Bob made his Yieldlings, because I think that was like the first starter NFT on Algorand that kind of like exploded really fast, and I think that's what kind of piqued everyone's interest, especially when the Yieldling #1 sold for 10,000 Algo.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like the OG collection.
Yeah, I did a video on this series called I think it was called Algo Beasts back in the summer, and there was like this was when AB2 was really low key. Like there were a handful of collections, not even Yieldlings, like not even Algo Bots, nothing like that had even come out. This was like just a series of animated little characters. There were 1,000 each, like not even one of one mints, so nothing really special about them. I mean, I think they look cool, but that was like my first exposure to the NFT market. I got that back in probably like July, but then I didn't really touch the NFT market again until things started to pop off with Yieldlings and Algobots, and then other websites like NFT Explorer came out aggregating collections together. That helped a lot to organize. And then you had things like Rand Gallery gave a competition to AB2, and now there's a bunch of sites. So I think I started to really get into it in the fall, but I was aware of it in the summer. But it's really like NFTs are not just about the NFTs being up there. You have to have the community created around it, so it generates that hype or that FOMO or that like rarity, that desire to own one of the collection, to be part of that maybe Discord or maybe a DAO later down the line. So I guess to answer your question, Alex, the NFTs have been on Algo for probably months, maybe like 6 months at this point, but they really only started like getting crazy in the past 2 or 3. But because each little thing has such a big impact on the community, like each new site, Algo X NFT, the auction site that came out recently. There's another auction site that Chris, one of Chris's coworkers, is coming out with, and those things pretty much like in my mental, it kind of like just compounds and compounds the value of the NFT ecosystem, because there's just more infrastructure supporting all the artists. So yeah, I guess that was a long-winded answer, but they've been around for months, but only really started to pop off once the community took it upon themselves to say, you know what, I want to make a series, like let's get it going and let's start a community.
Just to clarify, NFT Jam is nothing to do with Reach whatsoever. It's just a community member using Reach to build it.
Sorry, not a coworker, associate, I guess, acquaintance,
A community member.
community member.
Yeah, they definitely started blowing up in the past like just month or two. It's been crazy. I've seen so many collections come out. I've seen a lot of websites being updated, websites coming out, communities building. It's really cool. I think they're going to be huge. Like I kind of started getting into them thinking that like when Algo hits like top 10, a lot of guys are going to start getting into it. It's going to blow up.
And if I may ask, were you using a different blockchain before? And how did you find out about Algorand and Algo NFTs?
I never really did, but I did try and get an ETH NFT, and then I kind of realized like how expensive gas actually was. It was called Happy Land Gummy Bear, I think. So they were free to mint, but you just have to pay gas. And gas was like, I think people in the chat were saying like, oh damn, I just paid like $150 in gas, and I'm like, screw that. I just ended up not doing it. So I guess I kind of started on Algo.
And what's your favorite Algo NFT series?
Algoanas.
Safe answer.
Yeah, right? I think I started out, I think my first NFT. Oh yeah, I just started browsing AB2 and then I just bought some random ones. I bought like a Mario cup or something. I don't even know. It's kind of like a dead collection. The guy doesn't really post too much, but it's like 5 Algo.
Algo bots is what got me into it.
Yeah, those were sick. A lot of those collections I was looking at, the one that Crypto Nerd posted on his YouTube a while back in September, I was looking at them, but they're pretty expensive. I was mainly looking to like flip and hold. So I could flip some and then afford to be able to hold what I want, which is kind of what I'm trying to do with Goannas, but it's really expensive. It's kind of like out of reach for me at this point, even though I'm happy I have one at least, but yeah.
Even having one, at least there's only, less than 500 Algoanas. So anybody who has an Algoana or an Algo bot, also 500 of those, Little Free Club, Mingos, Yieldlings. These are the OG series that you give it a few years. We don't know how big the Algorand ecosystem could develop to, but these will be permanent, persistent, always there, always the OGs. Like even you having one Algoana is probably better off than like almost every other holder of Algo. So nothing to complain about.
Yeah.
Speaking
Right?
of bingos, there's supposed to be a snapshot today.
What do you mean?
I believe all Mingo holders will get a snapshot and possibly get another Mingo.
Oh, they're gonna double the Mingo supply?
I'm not sure about doubling it. I'm not sure how he's going about it, but he's doing a snapshot for the last 500 Mingos.
Some kind of shovel, maybe?
It sounds like he's gonna see which addresses hold the last 500 published Mingos and give them another Mingo. That's what's happening.
I'm not exactly sure. Let me look on his post because he just posted about it and I made a comment about it. But he's doing some kind of snapshot today for people holding Mingos.
Now I'm curious. I gotta go check that out. See how valuable my Mingo is right now.
Because I was asking him about it, and because I was like, "What if I got a Mingo in escrow?" And he's like, "They can still see it in my wallet, even if it's in escrow."
Huh. Wait until we can do baskets or sell collections. So some of these smaller series, if you've got, Alien Pride Art, he's a good example. So he's got a series that's like 10 different versions, and I think he did, I don't know, 5 or 10 different, copies of each of these 10 different, NFTs. And having one of each, I think, is going to be way more valuable than just kind of having one-offs. And so eventually I could see people selling collections, as a basket, which seems like a cool idea.
Okay.
So,
Isn't there a company that's coming out with that, Exa Finance?
Yeah.
Cody, I would 100% double check the whole, if it's an escrow, they can still see it, because that doesn't make sense.
Will do. I might just remove it then, because that's what Stitch Bob told me at least.
Because the thing is, like, it depending on the escrow, if it's a smart contract, they would have to do a lot of extra work to make sure that they can see who put it into escrow, and then also who actually has control over it. But yeah, I just triple check.
Yeah, because
Got
it's a different account, right, Chris?
Yeah, I mean that wouldn't work. I mean, but maybe they're doing something really elaborate to actually snapshot.
I see what they're doing. They're doing it for verified owners in their Discord. So, like, if you verified you owned a Mingo, they're going to drop you another Mingo if you're registered in their Discord.
Gotcha. Okay, that's different.
So this means the Mingo price should go down, right? Could maybe scoop some for cheap.
Maybe. It's just 225 of them to the registered people on Discord. So it's not like I would say a crazy influx of them.
Okay. Not too much. I know some people, like, they have a lot of them. Some people in this call I know have a lot of them, not to name names. What about aorist.art.io, I believe? Aorist, a high-end art marketplace coming to Algorand, launching the week after Decipher. They hired this really famous artist called Rafiq Anadol. That's his name. He does AI generative art, kind of like really, really huge installations, very high tech. Honestly, he's an artist that I already really liked from like a long time ago, and to see that Algorand was collaborating with him was kind of a mind beep, because that was just crazy. But what do you guys think of this series or this company? I know they're related to Eterna Capital also. And does anyone have any like info about, what kind of artists they're going to have, who can get on this? What's the purpose of the platform? They've been a bit vague so far. I don't know if anyone has a bit of insider scoop on that.
I got nothing. I can tell you that they seem to be have high standards for artists that will be represented, but that's about all I know so far.
What about Metapunk's DAO? You guys have heard of that, right?
Yeah, that looks cool.
See, I think it's a cool idea, right? But is it going to be able? They showed a few different things. One of the characters they made had an Algoana hat. One of them had a Matthias Trinley skin, I guess you could say. Is this going to be something where you can take your other NFTs like Opal Cats or Predators or something and like slap it on one of these characters to make it a thing? I mean, I feel like a lot of these, not like they have to give us too much information, but like Metapunk's DAO and Kin DAO are very, very cryptic on Twitter, and it kind of leaves me with a lot of questions. Like, can you just tell us like what it is? Like, can we stop like dropping little breadcrumbs like every 2 weeks? But does anyone know about Metapunks? I'm in their Discord, Telegram. I know they're doing an airdrop whitelist or something, but I'm not exactly sure. I think they have a system where like all the sales of the characters will go back into the treasury, and then the DAO will vote on that treasury, and you have to have a character to be in the DAO. What does everyone think of this? Does anyone have an opinion or a take? Okay, never mind. I guess no one.
I'll take a
no one
shot at
cares.
it, Ibu. I really like the project, but I don't know too much of the inner workings. And any one of these NFT series that is saying they're a DAO, I really think they need to be using a multi-sig wallet. And I think that because otherwise that treasury is just being held by one signer, and your trust is all in that one signer, right? So it's not really a DAO. Like there needs to be multiple people, whether it's a 2 of 3 or a 3 of 5 or whatever it is, but there needs to be accountability, and you can't call yourself DAO if you don't have multi-sig. That's my opinion. Since there's no
100.
infrastructure to really like, you know, to do this right now. So you have to just rely on Discord. Like that's the DAO infrastructure we have right now. So
I mean, it's arguable that even a multi-sig can be called a DAO, if you ask me.
it's a stretch, but it's better than a single signer, right?
Of course.
I think the conclusion we're all leaning toward is that we need better smart contract infrastructure for DAOs to launch. Like Antil DAO. Antil DAO is promising that they will create that infrastructure for other DAOs, other projects, other tokens to launch as they use Antil as a launchpad. But they're not out yet. They haven't showed us what they're working on. So right now, you're right, John. It's kind of very bare bones, very unstructured, house of cards almost. You're trusting people. Like the other day, the guy who runs Crypto Squirrel Association, he's doing an airdrop for his token Acorns, and he's saying to fill out a Google form and send him like a minimum of 100 algo for like your allocation of the liquidity pool or whatever. It's just so like, I don't know. I don't think he's a sketchy person, but the way he was doing it was sketchy, because like now I'm having to trust you that if I wanted to buy in, I didn't, but if I wanted to, I would have to send you 100 algo and just hope and pray that like you don't just do nothing with it, or like, so I think it's really that kind of thing is very common in the algo ecosystem right now. We need way more infrastructure with the DAO smart.
We're building a
Go
DAO
ahead.
infrastructure. And
Okay, you want
Tell
to
us
a little about
more.
what's going on?
You're building one of
Yeah.
everything, Chris.
I mean, we have pretty good.
Yeah, literally, Chris, you come every week with like, oh, we're building that every week.
I mean, we literally are. I mean, we have a big team now, by the way. So what the DAO is, like what we're building, it's actually like we've been going back and forth with exactly what the structure will be. But we're actually in the process right now of getting a grant from the foundation to turn the DAO that we're building for both Humble and also Game Jam Protocol into an open DAO framework so that anybody can just take it and launch what they want. But as I think it's not a surprise that we're building a DAO. I think maybe the surprise is that we're also going to actually generalize it so that other people can use it as well.
Yeah, and I'm still waiting for it, and I'm very excited about it. I will probably use it for fame, actually.
Yeah, I mean, like there's pretty much every project that's out right now is in need of a DAO. So it's coming. It's just that the DAO itself is a very scary thing, because if you do it incorrectly and you give it too much power, then there's a chance that the entire treasury of the DAO goes away. So we've been putting a lot of thought into exactly how to structure it to make it safe and also make sure that it gives us room to improve and add features on it as we go. So I think where we're at right now is, if you guys care, the structure is that it's going to be kind of a two-piece structure, where that there will be the on-chain voting for proposals, and through the actual proper process, and then once the proposal is approved by the governance, based off of a governance token, then there is a multi-sig treasury holders that can push that proposal to the next stage. So that's kind of like what the structure is as of right now, but that's what we're working on.
Sweet.
And then XBAC's supposed to bring a lot of tooling, like DAO tooling, to ecosystem as well.
Yeah, we're gonna be working with XBAC. I mean, that's the idea, is that we're helping them with the DAO as well.
Bullish.
Hey guys, what about the Oh, go ahead.
So then there's the other thing that's kind of like more of like a surface thought that Shanti here, who's on the call listening, came up with, is a NFT DAO, where the idea of that there is no governance tokens. It's the right to vote is based off the NFTs themselves. So it's like one vote per NFT. And like the cool thing is this is going to be a very open experiment to see how it works. But the idea is that when the only way you can actually buy an NFT is actually through the DAO. So you buy the DAO direct from the NFT, and the price of the NFT is actually increased based off a bonding curve. But 100% of the value goes into the treasury, which gives you the equal part of a vote for that thing. This is actually, John kind of gave the idea as well. But the cool thing that we kind of tweaked a little bit, and we're going to see if this works, is that you can't actually transfer the NFT. What you can do is you can actually sell back the NFT to the DAO to receive your portion of the treasury. Now,
So frozen? Sorry, Chris.
What's that?
Are you making it frozen so then only that contract can call it back?
So exactly. So you can sell the NFT back to the DAO. And I'm thinking like it's probably something like 90% of what your stake of the entire treasury is.
That's actually a really good idea. Yeah.
And then somebody can go in and buy the NFT that was sold back into. But how you buy it is like the starting price is the actual equal portion of their stake, but it kicks off an auction that lasts for an entire week. So it has the ability to increase the value of the treasury based off of what the actual auction price gets to.
That's sick. Yeah, I love that idea. Now these NFTs.
I think I got Metapunk's DAO confused with what you were talking about, Chris. So this is going to be for which NFT series? Are you making a new series? Are you going to use an existing one?
Yeah, we'll use a new series. My idea is that I want to do one that's so Reach will actually foot the bill for the artist and just eat that cost just to actually try this experiment out. But if Shanti, who's here, wants to come in and kind of talk about it a little more, she can. But yeah, I think that this is purely an experiment, purely generated from the knowledge that we gained from the NFT NYC about how NFTs are more about community than the artwork. So let's see if we could actually go all in on that.
Yeah, it's a cool idea. If you want your coworker to speak, I will have to remove one person as a speaker. So is anyone willing to step down as a speaker real quick?
Yeah, you can kick me out or drop me down to listener.
Looks like Kyle Wang just dropped out, so.
Oh.
Bye, Kyle. What do you guys think of this Tiny Man smart contract bug with the with the pools?
Wait, what? What's going on?
Yeah, so all right, so I'll read from their docs. This is posted on November 12th, 2021. Pool overflow errors. The problem. We've discovered that some small pools in Tiny Man have become stuck and unable to process swaps, mints, and burns. This happens because of an overflow error in the calculations in the contracts when the price asset ratio is extremely high. This currently affects pools with a price ratio greater than 10 million to 1 in the micro units of the assets. Unfortunately, the calculation occurs at the start of the swap, mint, or burn code block and uses the previously stored price value, so this error affects all swap, minted, or burned operations on these pools and cannot be fixed by adding extra assets to the pool. Pools that currently give these errors are unfortunately unrecoverable, and any assets in these pools are permanently stuck as burn. Operations do not no longer work.
Seriously, guys, use Reach. Like Reach has like math protection, everything of that sort. So like things like this don't happen.
I have a question, Chris. Is there a way that this
hurts my stomach so bad that this is actually what happening.
Is there a way to use Reach to in a way like audit contracts? Like let's say I understand Reach, but I have no clue what Teal is, and let's say someone like Tiny Man releases their code publicly. Is there like one day like a way I could put that copy and paste that Teal code into something, and then I could like review it in Reach?
Nope. I mean, this is why people should just write their applications in Reach the first time. I mean, it's easier, it's safer, it's faster. I mean, like I'm gonna stop talking because I'm gonna get triggered here in a minute.
Understandable.
Hey guys, could I ask a question? I don't know if any of you guys know if there's like a tool or use case for this in the algo space yet.
Yo, your echo is crazy. But continue.
So basically what I see that's like kind of obvious and I think should be added is like multi-asset trading. So like instead of you going on the NFT marketplace and being like, oh, I want to buy this NFT, like maybe somebody would want to trade an NFT for an NFT or trade an NFT plus some algo for an NFT, so to speak. I don't know if that exists yet or if any of you guys are aware of that. I know there's like, what's it called?
Yeah, that's Exa Finance.
It could be a thing added to Rand Swap.
Yeah, Jacob, what you're talking about is the Exa Finance project. It's a French team. Ted is the leader, and he's been building like those baskets of NFTs and FTs all together. You can create the mix you want to trade with anybody else in a trustless way.
Oh, awesome. Could you say the name one more time? I just want to type it in and look them up.
Yeah, it's called Exa Finance. They are you can find them easily on Twitter. And Ted Niven.
EXA Finance.
Yeah. EXA.
Yeah, I think that's a really exciting proposition that they're bringing. There's also this site that I found that just announced themselves called Algo Gator, which is trying to be an aggregator for portfolios linked to your Algo wallet. Basically trying, because I think one of the difficulties of using the Algo wallet right now in My Algo, or just the normal Algorand wallet app, is that it's a bit disorganized. There's not enough infrastructure built out. Disconnected for a second, but so you can really see things in an organized way. You can see charts, you can see tracking, performance. I think that's a pretty important infrastructure money Lego that needs to be built, and it's coming along.
They should make it so you can delete ASAs that aren't actually in your wallet anymore. Like if you sold an NFT, because my wallet's pretty cluttered.
Right.
You can send them back to the original owners.
Even if there's nothing there?
Well, they still have to leave the contract open because they created the NFT. So you can always just, if you don't want the NFT, send it back to the creator.
I think he's saying that when he sells one, if he sold an NFT, he doesn't want. You can actually opt out. Like you can opt out of the asset.
You need to opt out because
you can get rid of it.
Yeah, and if you don't, there's a bunch of money locked into your wallet right now because of those. So you opt out and you they'll go away. Ebu, can you please send me the link to that Tiny Man news?
Yeah, I'll send it to you right now.
How do you opt out? Sorry, I've never heard of that.
Ebu, send that to me too.
All right, who runs this chat and can drop it in the notes? I can send it right now.
Anybody can, if you want to DM me. I mean, anybody can if you're a speaker.
Okay. All right, I'll DM it to. I'll send it to you, Chris. Okay.
All right, thanks. So Alex, we asked him the question how to opt out. You can actually just do it in My Algo Wallet as one that you can do it in, and then you click the drop down where you can see all of your assets. You can click the three dots and you can click remove.
Okay. I'll try it out right now. Thank you, man.
So when it comes to this Tiny Man issue, right? I think algo projects need to start taking bug bounties more seriously. I haven't seen almost any projects have worthwhile bug bounties or bug bounties at all, and I think it should be taken more seriously. And also, like Chris says, put the code or open source. That'll allow people to really dig deep. But I feel like just it's a bit, maybe these projects that are launching on mainnet, like we all like Tiny Man, but this is a decent problem that they actually can't fix, and they're also not willing to repay the lost funds that got affected by this bug. Even though they stated it was only about $5,000, but yet they're not willing to compensate the wallets that were affected. I feel like these projects need to start taking this stuff more seriously. I think the only reason that Tinyman is able to brush this off, and a lot of people in this call hadn't even heard about it until I mentioned it, is because they're the only DEX that's publicly available on mainnet right now. So they have no competition. But if they had Reach DEX, Algo DEX, a bunch of other DEXs, like, right on their tail, I think it would be a much bigger deal. What does
Yeah,
everyone else think of this?
I
The
heard
other
about it.
thing, the other thing about this, guys, is that the only way to fix this is to completely upgrade the entire contract. Like this is a big deal. Which, if upgrading the contract means that all of the liquidity would have to actually transfer to a new contract.
So have you checked out the document? Like, what do you think? And when you say all the liquidity has to move to a new contract, is that a risky process? Is there risk of it, getting lost along the way, or being buggy or something? What's the deal?
I mean, so you guys, I don't know if you were like when Uniswap V2 or Uniswap released V3, and so V2 and V3 both exist. That's because they're unupgradable contracts and they're immutable, which is the right way of doing it. But what this means is that if you want to transition your liquidity to the new one, is that it is a process of you can make it smoother and everything, but you have to move your liquidity from one chain to a completely new when there is a fix made. So I'm guessing that when Tinyman goes to V2, they'll hopefully fix this problem. But this problem is not did not go away. So this is an existing thing. So anybody that is thinking about creating pools, make sure you read this document to understand what not to do.
Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for that rundown. I think it may deserve a video. I might dive into that doc, make a video about it this upcoming week. I don't want to roast Tinyman. I do support them, but I also think it's important that people know what's going on, and we shouldn't be trying to sweep things under the rug. I mean, this is blockchain. We should keep things up.
I mean, this is like Tinyman's a great team, and this is definitely not their fault. This is part of blockchain development, and writing at this low level is that it's very, very hard, and it's very hard to catch all of these issues.
Well, should we hold runtime verification accountable as well? Because this slipped by them in the contract
No,
analysis.
let me explain what audits mean. This is not auditors. Audits don't look at every single thing. That's not how audits work. What happens is that when you get an audit, it's not a 100% guarantee. You ask the auditor to look at certain things, and they look at those things, and then they give you the thumbs up or thumbs down. So this is like this. There is a lot of, probably misinformation out there of what audits are, what blockchain development is, immutability. This is, like I said, there's definitely no time for a witch hunt for anybody, really. It's just that it's us as users need to realize how early we are about the actual problems in the space and the potential risks. There's no great reward usually comes with great risk. So we just need to understand these are the types of things that can happen and need to be careful of when, make sure that it doesn't wreck us when they do happen.
I wonder if we have an idea about the pools, like which pools are affected. It would be nice to have the list of the pools that are affected so we can take measures and know if we lost some funds.
Yeah, the pool list is actually in the document. I sent it to you. I DM'd it to you below. If you go to the bottom of that doc, they have a Google Doc linked where it says the full list of all pools is at the following link. The highlighted pools are currently stuck. And is it possible if these pools are stuck, I guess, could you add a bunch of liquidity in and kind of unlock them, unfreeze them if there's enough tradable liquidity, or will it just not work like that?
That's probably a question for Chris.
It's a good question. I would need to look into more. It has a potential maybe, but it's also potentially that the state itself got stuck and it got to a point where the math to adjust it at all it overflows. So I'm not sure. It would require a lot more analysis. I'm sure Tinyman will do more analysis on these, but they're better to answer this than where I am.
I'm sure you all saw the partnership with Visco, which is a big photo app, social media photo app. Actually, this was teased. You could have caught on to it early because they announced Algorand Inc. announced that someone from Visco would be speaking at Decipher. I think it was Monty who pointed this out, or maybe it was Michael Jordan. Um, but someone noticed this and was like, "Oh, who is Visco going to be at working with Algorand?" And that was like 2 weeks ago, and then they announced the drop. So was that you? Was that you, Monty?
Nope. That was Michael Jordan at Algo
Yeah,
Family. He's on it.
See, so he was on that. That was a very good catch by him. And basically, they came out with, big photo app, 20 million monthly users or something like that. They came out with their first NFT exhibition on Algo, where there's a bunch of artists with some pretty cool art, some physical art, some digital art, and you can only purchase these pieces with Algos. I mean, this is pretty cool. That's some pretty cool stuff. I have to commend the Algorand Inc. Excuse me, for just reaching out and being really into the NFT scene. I guess recognizing that the easiest and most applicable use of Algo right now is probably in that scene, which crosses with the mainstream market. But I think it's a really cool idea, and it's definitely like a big step to reveal Algo and Algo NFTs to the public. And I think photo NFTs are kind of underrated as well. We have a lot of illustrations, but we don't have many like cool photo series.
I'm still kind of salty about how much they invested in the drone racing league compared to NFTs, but I'll keep myself silent on it.
Regarding the photographers, I have seen a trend of people coming over in the last couple of weeks. The last couple of spaces I held, I've had several photographers drop in and talk about the space.
Yeah, and I had 2 friends this past week, photographers, convinced them to list Algo NFTs. So yeah, I definitely see it too. John, also for Drone Racing League, right? I think it's a play. I actually think that them partnering with the Drone Racing League is a long-term play that seems really weird now, but if I think the Drone Racing League has potential to get pretty big with a young audience over the next 5 years, and that's really who you want to catch on with. You want to solidify a young audience, a passionate audience, willing to, get the drone racing.
Sorry,
Huh?
wouldn't the play be like Twitch? Like, what if they dropped 100 million on Twitch ads? Could that be better?
I don't think so. And I was actually when I was they announced this at during the digital asset summit week. That was like 2 months ago, and I met Kelly Callahan that week, and I was like saying, you should sponsor a League of Legends team. That's like the biggest esport in the world right now. But really, I think they're trying to hit something before it gets big. Like, sure, they could spend 100 million going to Twitch, but that 100 million can also basically take over the Drone Racing League's entire marketing and like sponsorship. They're like the number one sponsor of the Drone Racing League now. With 100 million, you probably wouldn't be able to be the number one sponsor on Twitch or the number one sponsor of a League of Legends team because those markets are already huge. Drone Racing League is pretty small, has potential to get huge, and I think it's a high risk play they're taking. It's definitely a high risk play because there's no guarantee that the Drone Racing League is going to pop off and become like very popular with hundreds of millions of viewers. But if it's position, that's why I think that's why I think it's a play, but it's a risky one because it's not guaranteed. Drone racing is very new. It's very, I would say to most people it looks random and like they don't know what to do with it, but it has potential.
I think something that's really interesting about Drone Racing League is if you think long term, like in the next 10 years, so there's a company called Jetson that just came out, and they're literally like flyable drones. Like they weigh 200 pounds, you get in them and you fly around. Like you don't know what they could be introducing, and it could be something as big as that too.
So 2 things, guys, about the photographers. First of all, photos, people really taking them on Solana and Tezos have been starting to look on Algo. So they were like kind of cross-chain on the lower fees, but I think they are starting to come over on Ibu's point, but about the drone racing league thing, I'm not totally against it. I'm just trying to understand the decision-making process and how that goes through. It's Algorand Inc. right now, the foundation. So who at the Inc., like how many steps did that take that they got to make $100 million decision? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't really, I don't have the inside scoop here. I'm theorizing just as much as anyone else. But I guess when I think of drone racing, it's new, it's futuristic, it's cutting edge, it's right there. It's a brand new like type of competition that is really, I would say, has a lot of smoothing out to do in terms of like onboarding new people who are going to be drone racers. I mean, it's very uncommon that people like want to get into this, and not many people own drones, right? Not many people are racing them, and even less amount of people want to go pro racing them. I guess that Algorand's commitment with that 100 million does bring legitimacy in terms of funding to the drone racing league, because now DRL has $100 million more to spend on infrastructure and building up. And they said they're going to do ticket NFTs and different like collectible NFTs. They're going to have the leaderboard. Like they're basically going to build it all on Algo, build their whole infrastructure on Algo. So I think the fact that Drone Racing League still needs to build that infrastructure at all is the point of Algorand trying to sponsor them, because they're saying, Algorand's thinking, okay, we have the ability here. We notice this new and like budding like competition maybe could become big. It's kind of like esports back in 2010. Didn't really know how big it could be. Clearly now we can see esports gaming, most popular category on YouTube, most popular category on Twitch, hundreds of billions of dollars in revenue in the gaming industry per year. Would have been a great play if you got into it back then, like Twitch and other popular gaming companies did. I guess like there's like the memes about like Mountain Dew and Doritos, but honestly they probably made a big profit off of sponsoring those like Call of Duty and StarCraft and League of Legends tournaments back then.
One thing though too, Evo, just I don't know if you guys talked about this yet, but when someone says like they're investing $100 million, they don't mean they're like giving $100 million lump sum. It's usually like conditional and over time and things of that sort. So it's not as like crazy as what it sounds, because it's usually spread over a good amount of time.
Well, hey guys,
Like
this
5
is
years,
Brandon.
right?
I actually
5 years plan, yeah.
I actually used to work in sponsorships, and I was pitched this sponsorship about 6 years ago. So I worked. And hello, I'll introduce myself. I'm actually one of Chris's. I work for Chris at Reach and Growth, and I used to work at Visa. And we were pitched Drone Racing League 5-6 years ago. So they've been around for a while. They've been pitching this kind of name sponsorship for a while. And like Chris said, from my understanding, it's not an investment, it's an actual paid sponsorship. So likely over 5 years. And the valuation of it can be done in a lot of different ways. Oftentimes it's based on what they are, taking the rights out towards. So if you think about sponsorships, they carve out rights to the sponsorship. I see the opportunity for Algorand as to really own, I think the infrastructural pieces, which I think has been stated pretty well, is, ticketing, and then potential what it comes down to, like if betting were to become a part of it, this is a ripe platform for potential to implement like a gambling kind of interface and
That's a great point.
So I think those are the real upsides of it, because most sponsorships have really low ROI, actually. It's really hard to measure eyeballs and, raising awareness of the platform, what it does. And so really, if you, and again, without having kind of behind the scenes knowledge, the infrastructural upside of building out kind of these pieces and owning that and making a bet on the growth of it is really where those two kind of decisions come into play.
I guess my point bringing it up is, okay, they could hire, 50 devs each year for 5 years with that money, or they can sponsor drone racing. That's my point. I just don't think it's the most efficient allocation of the capital they have. But that's just my take.
Yeah. That's always going to be a question on whenever you're building a business or building a brand. Is the question is how much money should go towards promotion versus building? And we've all seen a graveyard of like really superior products that don't get to market because they're not marketed appropriately. They don't hit mainstream. Not enough people become aware of them, even though they're superior, right? There's a whole history of that. And so there has to be some balance that you strike in terms of making the investments for building awareness, for making sure that the right people and the right amount of people become aware of your product, your platform, and all of the great things that it's able to do, and making those bets and making sure that it gets out. Because sometimes, it's the field of dream problem. A lot of people like to believe like, hey, if I build the best thing ever, people will come to it, and on its own merits, it will be great. And it's wishful thinking. It often isn't the case. So I think there's a lot of respect that I give them for making a bet. I don't know if it's the right bet, and it might not be the most efficient one, but it has to be made. Like there has to be moves made in order to get Algorand's name out into the public, out to the mainstream, out in front of others if they want to pull in kind of mainstream adoption and usage.
Yeah, totally.
Brandon, sorry, Eldar here. Just in a way of introduction for people that don't know me, I'm an ex-Goldman guy, 20-year investment banker. So for me, it's all about money at the end of the day. And, when I see this kind of investments, I'm completely with John. I just feel that, money could have been better spent. But Brandon, since you have mentioned that, you have seen this 6 years ago, I mean, do you know the overall kind of development or the uh, clearly it's not a popular sport. I mean, I have 2 young kids and they have never heard of it. So for me, if you're telling me that this has been already out there for 6 years, and for very first time I've heard of it is because I follow Algorand and Algorand effectively is sponsoring it, I'm not really, that enthusiastic about it. I mean, clearly I could be proven wrong, and I hope I will be. But it just does feel that 100 million could have been spent, way more efficiently.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question, and it always will be a question on sponsorships, right? They're all like, I think in terms of marketing, sponsorships is always going to be this most ambiguous and difficult. And so, depending on how you feel about sponsorships and their ROI, that will always cut both ways. In terms of like what the merits of the drone sponsorship are, they are a couple. One of them was that they were able to do them in really interesting and exotic locations. So they're able to go into well-known kind of properties and do it in Wembley, do it in Cowboy Stadium, do it, and they can have all these interesting places. The other one is that from a viewership perspective, you can really bring in any kind of a viewer to any situation. If you watch like uh, any other kind of racing, the perspectives are oftentimes limited, and so you don't get as well a rich of an experience from watching. I actually watched a lot of the footage, and it's actually pretty interesting and exciting because you kind of are able to, they're equipped with camera oftentimes, so you get the point of view of being in the drone as well as kind of around it. So it has the merits of also breeding a lot of content off of it. It is definitely niche. It is growing in its own niche. And I think the other part of from a marketing perspective is that we oftentimes take the point of view of ourselves and say, well, if I don't experience it or my kids don't experience it, that means it's a limited audience. But from the time that I was there, and I can do follow up and find out where it was at, it was growing almost exponentially. It's a very quickly growing property. And particularly where you're talking about something like a Twitch, for example, it has this kind of hybrid in-person digital combination because of the the camera aspect and pieces of it. So again, I don't know that that's the right investment. I'm not endorsing in terms of what it is, but I can empathize with what the attempt is, right? Which is have been stated here. One is getting in front of a property that has the potential to continue to grow exponentially. Two, being able to build out some kind of infrastructural needs from either ticketing, from gambling, from looking for new properties of area of growth that aren't oversaturated, because getting into more traditional spaces is way over indexed right now, right? Any kind of traditional sports sponsorships are extreme, like way overpaid in terms. If you think these are exorbitant, like look at what's happening with more traditional platforms. And then the other piece of it is the need to making bets into mainstream audiences, right? So again, I'm not saying that it's the right move. It could be a wrong move. I just am trying to empathize with reasons why they may make it.
Totally. But my thing is like, is there somebody within Inc. that say has like a fetish for like badminton or like pool racing or whatever, and then they're gonna make a sponsorship for that? I'm trying to understand the decision making process. Like you
Yeah.
said, okay, Twitch might seem saturated or whatever, but it's still, I feel like it has a lot of upside growth. So like esports, gaming,
Jeff,
MMA, like yeah.
I can speak because I know
Yeah, go
the
ahead.
Algorand team pretty well. They have a very robust marketing team that and like the entire business team is actually has years and years and years of experience running very well off companies. So I guarantee that they put a lot of strategic thinking into where they're placing their bets.
Yeah, and oftentimes it's a math formula, right? You say, okay, I'm going to put in $20 million because they have this size of audience, and I'm going to get a CPM, a million impressions or 1,000 impressions per dollar, based on the audience size, based on all of the channels where they're at, based on exposure, and that's how that number comes to life. And sometimes they bake in growth into it. But almost always, and particularly at this level, there's a sophisticated kind of justification and math equation in order to come up with that number. It's not just, to your point, an enthusiast, right? Like that there's some secret drone enthusiast that wants to be, particularly in a company like in a situation like Algorand. So that part I would be very confident in.
I think D40 wants to say something. You want to jump in, man?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good, man. You?
Doing good. I think the drone racing league is pretty cool. Typically the drone environment also kind of intersects with programmers. So like a lot of people who are into that for fun also are into other high tech, typically programming backgrounds. I have a friend that like loves coding, and he is obsessed with drones. And I just think that there's a really big intersect there. And then one other note, Algorand, I'm from New England, so Algorand blasts TD Garden and the Celtics with Algorand Future of Finance on the billboards and like the ticker tape, I guess you'd call it, all around the stadium. So, they're doing all kinds of stuff strategically.
Yeah, definitely. Good point. They do have traditional sports sponsorships with the Celtics. They tried to get a deal with the Patriots. It didn't work out. But I think the thing about the drone racing league, it's a bit of a moonshot, right? But the reason I think it's a play is because one, I think the audience that will be interested in drone racing over the next 5 years during this deal will be a younger audience, like 13 to 20-year-olds. And those are the people who have not had a first experience with a blockchain yet. They may not be using ETH, Solana, Avalanche, or Luna, something else. They may just be getting their first exposure to blockchain through seeing an ad on Drone Racing League if they're into it for Algorand. And then maybe they get a ticket, they go to an event, they have to use Algorand, they get exposed to it. The more like I think really like the change has to go from the youth, right? The more young interested kids in tech that you get like on this Algorand train, the more likely one of them is to create the next $100 million company that pays for the entire sponsorship, right? That brings that TVL to Algorand. As long as you can expose them to it, you never know what's going to happen. Similar reason why I started a TikTok page. I knew that younger people had to learn about Algorand, so maybe one person that sees a video, gets inspired, joins in, and then you never know the butterfly effect of what can happen down the road. As well as also, if Brandon, you're saying that Drone Racing League has been around for 5 or 6 years at least. You know, they tried to come to you in a different company, in a different form. It could be that the combination of them and then having Algorand to help build out that infrastructure could be that alchemical combination that actually brings Drone Racing League into the next level, because they now have a higher tech infrastructure. They're trying to be on the cutting edge of, you know, ticketing and NFTs and collectibles, maybe gambling down the line, betting on these drones. I think it's definitely like, I think Algorand saw it as, one, we can hit a young audience and maybe catch a whole wave of kids who haven't locked into any blockchain yet, and they're going to now come to Algorand. And two, the combo of this blockchain tech plus this burgeoning, budding sport could kind of send the whole thing parabolic.
What if that is not all cash value too? What if some of that is in algo or in traded services for creating, you know, some of their infrastructure? What if they just assigned a value? Hey, if we create your infrastructure, that's worth X amount, and then they lump that into the deal. It's hard to say. Who knows? But I think what you said is correct about the audience being in large part programmers, or not. I don't know how, you know, what percentage. Is sort of anecdotal, but I do know that Algorand themselves, they seem to be, you know, in the mode of let's find more people to build. They've got this college program. They're trying to get programmers early. They got this drone thing. They're trying to get folks into the ecosystem to build it. And they figure if they build it, more people will come. And their new business development section, like if you talk with those folks, like those folks can't keep up, and they can't hire new people fast enough to take on more accounts. Like their new business development section is booming right now. And so they may not be building a whole bunch of stuff themselves, like an NFT marketplace or what have you, but the support that they're giving to folks is pretty robust.
So maybe ready to switch topics a little bit here. I know that you guys have been talking about music and NFTs quite a bit. We got Keatley here. You guys probably don't know much about Dequency and what they're going to do. We should probably give them a chance to talk about it. What do you think?
For sure.
Yeah, man, go ahead.
Absolutely.
Hey guys, happy to be here.
Hey.
Yeah, so Dequency is a decentralized music licensing marketplace. So I co-founded and run a music licensing and publishing company, excuse me, called Riptide Music. And we put a lot of music in TV, film, advertising, really anything where there's picture and music. So we had this idea to put it on the blockchain and create a decentralized version. So essentially, we're going to be aiming to build a collaboration platform with music and video. And at first, we're going to be aiming for the NFT artist marketplace, the visual NFT artist marketplace, and creating a community where people who are creating these motion graphics, motion picture, visual NFTs, and they need music, here's going to be a place where they can browse music, find artists that are interested in collaborating, and have a legitimate place to license that music so that there are no copyright issues, so that just more interesting art can be made, and so that everyone can benefit from it. Music artists can earn the money that they need. Visual artists can find opportunities to put music together with their art and see what comes out of it. Pretty excited about it.
I think it's a dope idea, right? I was hoping for more music NFT platforms to compete with Opulus. I think Opulus is dope. They don't hit every angle of the market. I make music. Let's say I upload a song to Dequency. My question is, how are you going to circumvent or somehow get people using the music and not listening to it on their normal platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, Google Play, those big boys, the Web 2 big boys, where everyone listens to their music right now, how are you going to bring people? Is that the purpose of Dequency, or is the purpose of Dequency something different?
Yeah, so it's totally different. We're not aiming to compete with Opulus or Audius or any of the Web2 consumer listening platforms. This is purely for what's called synchronization licensing. So there are a number of different rights that are inherent in music copyright. There's public performance, there's mechanical royalties, there's print, there's dramatic rights, and all of those are serviced by different societies or different groups, and all of that is ripe for disruption on the blockchain, and is definitely something that's needed. And there are a number of other groups that are working on those problems. What we're working on is specifically the synchronization right. So that is when you license music for picture. So every time you see a song hear a song on a TV show or in an ad or in a video game, there's been a synchronization license that's been executed. And this was the original idea. So I became very enthusiastic about crypto and blockchain toward the end of last year, and just dove in hard. And the more I learned about the tech behind it, and the ethos and the philosophy and everything surrounding that, I realized that the Bitcoin problem that was solved in terms of removing the third-party middleman from the digital payment transaction, it's a one-to-one comparison of what we do in our normal business. We, the music company, is that third-party middleman in between the music artist creator and the person who's trying to license that music. And so because of that, with smart contracts, we're able to automate that and then create a decentralized platform that ultimately benefits all the market participants. And so that got us really excited, and we wrote a white paper, and Chris actually has been an early supporter, and it's been great. We've gotten support from Algorand Foundation, Algorand Inc.
They're freaking out right now.
Yeah, it's all pretty cool. But this is specifically for the marriage of music and picture. And why anyone can find music on Spotify, on YouTube, and put it in their visual medium, but you can't do anything with it. You can't sell the NFT. You can't put it on YouTube. You can't put it out there to the world, because it's copyright infringement, but even if you didn't care about that, which you should, everyone should, but if that wasn't the biggest issue, you'll get takedown notices on all these different platforms. And so you need a legal way to be able to license the music. And so that's what we're aiming to solve. And we're going to solve that first by being the first and only place where you can do that on chain. So we're going to target the on chain production communities. And, to begin with, that's going to be, NFT artists and people who are creating productions that are intended to be only shown in the metaverse and in places like that. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great idea, right? Let's say like I said, I'm a musician. I have a lot of musician friends. Let's say we make a beat, we don't put vocals on it. Could we just upload it to Dequency, and just someone wants to use it later down the line, they can? And I guess the follow-up question is, what if someone takes that beat, downloads it, and then just uses it on something else, doesn't even tell us that they're using it? How will Dequency help or be related to, if I find someone using my beat that I uploaded to Dequency, but they didn't connect it with the on-chain NFT, verification, will I have to get a lawyer involved? How complex does that get?
Yeah, great question. So the first part, yeah, if you create a beat, this will be the place that you can upload it, and hopefully there will be visual artists that are interested in using that. We're going to create a community aspect to this as well, where the visual artists can connect with the music artists, vice versa. And then later versions of Dequency, we're going to have a playlist curator community member as well, so that everyone's playing nice together. So there's a filtering mechanism. There's and ultimately we're going to create economics around this to incentivize everyone to be playing nicely. What happens if someone downloads it and uses it the way that they want to use it, and they're violating the agreement, is the question. Well, that can happen now. And so, this isn't going to solve every problem in the world. Right now, if you go put that beat on YouTube, anyone can go download that and do what they want with it. They're violating copyright. So if they then want to do something with it and release it on Spotify or release it on on YouTube or do anything else with it, they're violating copyright. So how do you deal with that? YouTube is going to have some fingerprinting mechanisms where if you've registered it with your YouTube administrator first, you'll be able to flag that. On a, if someone uses it on Spotify, you got to find it, and that's just how it goes. And that's the music industry, and the music industry is challenged with that now. And you'll see if you dive into it, there's copyright infringement issues that happen multiple times every single day. High profile, low profile, everything. Is sampling, illegal sampling is a huge issue, and it's an issue. So what we are going to try to do as we build this out is have it all in a closed ecosystem where we're ultimately minting the NFT that's married with the music license NFT and creating a third NFT that is ultimately the product that can be put up in someone's wallet, put on the marketplaces, do what people want to do with it, but where you won't be able to download the music separately from the finished production. That'll come in later versions. We're not going to get that out with the MVP, but it's definitely something we're keeping in mind. And this is where the community will help us develop those tools as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's dope, and yeah, music industry, it's tough. It's easy to steal someone's beat, but it sounds like you're trying to just chip away bit by bit, and you have to start somewhere. And I think what you're going to be offering in the MVP is a pretty cool idea for visual artists to find music they can use, basically for free, as long as because the license is tied, and then the royalties will be shared, etc.
Yeah, and what you just said there, that end, that's something we still have to figure out. The original concept was that there would be a license fee for it, and there are Web2 analogies of this with Pond 5 and places like that. If you guys have used that, where it's a royalty-free model, you pay a $50 license and you can use it for whatever you want. That was the original concept, and now as we get into it more, we want it to be more of an art marketplace where we have higher end artists who are making their music available, as well as indie artists and all of that, and less about the mass market license and more about creating art together that can be put out there. The royalty provision issue is something that we have to solve, and I had a back and forth with Chris on Twitter just recently about that, and I'd love to open that up to the community, to the extent that anyone can talk about it. A problem we want to solve. We want to be able to have the music creators share in the royalties, the ongoing resale royalties from the visual artists NFT creators, and we're trying to figure out how to actually bake that into the smart contracts. My understanding is that's not possible at the moment, and that it's all platform specific. And so I'm hoping to work with the community in general to figure out how to solve this problem, because I think it's really important for all the creators, both the visual artist NFT creators and the music artist NFT creators, to be able to have this ongoing resale royalty provision that other people can't bust, or that it's not on the honor system. I don't know if anyone wants to talk about that now.
It's solvable. All right. We'll get it solved. Don't worry.
All right. Cool. Good. Let's do it together.
I think there also needs to be some type of more advanced scanning AI, which would help maybe alleviate that type of stealing of music, because it's difficult if someone takes your beat or your song, samples it, uploads it on Spotify. I mean, it's going to be basically impossible for you to find it, because unless it gets popular. So there has to be some type of more advanced AI that just can catch these things, but I don't know. I think that would be pretty difficult. So
there is, though, actually. So on YouTube, it's pretty robust.
DMCA.
Yeah, it's really robust on YouTube, and YouTube. I mean, the MO of all of the music tech companies or content tech companies is create your project, your platform, infringe everybody's copyright, engage in lawsuits with everybody, tie that up for a few years, and then settle for pennies on the dollar and establish some kind of ongoing royalty rate. That's just what everyone has done. And YouTube was one of the first. And what came out of that, though, was a very healthy content management system that's injected billions of dollars into the content community, and it's been great. And so for YouTube, it's pretty easy to catch it. For offline, radio stuff, there are some tools, but it's more challenging. For Spotify, it's not quite there. I think that's a great problem for somebody to solve in the Web3 world, and we'll see how things go. Maybe that's an area that we get into as well.
Even on YouTube, like some of these companies abuse that DMCA takedown. Like I've seen people play like, just a split second of a beat and get a DMCA takedown,
I mean, it's infringing copyright, so I could argue both sides. Anyone who's not on the music side is upset about that, and anyone's on the music side is like, well, pay for it, or at least. And how do you pay for it? You pay for it by allowing the music company to run ads. That's how the music is monetized. Or you strike a deal, and there are offline licenses that can be done. I mean, we certainly aim to solve that from an automated standpoint. That's why some of these other royalty-free music licensing services online exist, is to be able to do that. And there's some subscription-based services. We'll launch a subscription-based service at some point here as well, where like Twitch, for example. Twitch is you got a lot of live streamers who are live streaming their video games and all that. And so there are some services out there where they obviously don't want to get takedown notices, so they subscribe to some of these music services, and then they can just have an all-you-can-eat model, and then the music creators are paid depending on usage. I think it's a great model at scale, and we 100% want to be in that space.
I can't wait to see what you put together at Decipher and what kind of news you drop there. I do see someone else who will be speaking at Decipher. I think, I may be wrong, but Benedetto from Folks Finance I saw in the room here, and I don't think we've heard from you in a while.
Yeah.
And
hi guys.
Anything new with Folks?
How are you? Can you hear me?
We hear you.
Yeah, we have been very, very busy. I mean, even today I was at the office. We are doing a lot of work, but hopefully everything will be all right. We'll go on testnet now next month, and I'm sure we will have some announcement at Decipher. Yes, I will be a speaker there, so just be updated. Take a look.
Excellent. So did I hear you say or about a month away?
Yeah.
Time frame wise?
Yes.
Okay.
In December, before Christmas, we plan to launch the testnet.
Hi,
But
Ben.
we are doing the. Hi guys. Who is there? I didn't see who was speaking.
It's Kyle. Hey, Ben.
Hi Kyle, how are you?
Very good. I
We
missed
had
you
a great
already.
Thursday with Kyle. We were together in Milan at a conference. Fox Finance was having a panel together with Tiny Man, Algo Mint, and Prismatic, and Kyle was a guest of us. It was amazing. How are you, Kyle?
I'm very good. I stood at the back and cheered for my heroes.
I can imagine.
But yeah, guys,
Guys,
watch out for Folks Finance. It's going to be a very exciting launch. They've got a lot of surprises up their sleeves, so it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, we are gonna say some features that we have pretty unique. We are trying to keep things mysterious and having everything released time by time. We are doing a lot of work about the security side, and also to have a product that works perfectly. We want to go on testnet with a pretty good version that is almost going to be the final one. So we don't expect the testnet to run for a long time. If the smart contract audit goes fine and the testnet doesn't show problem, we plan to be live by the beginning of the new year.
That's great news. I know you got a lot of people waiting around with bated breath, trying to see what the DeFi world will bring. There's been a lot of talk and a lot of expectations, but nothing has come to fruition yet. So you'll be one of the first projects really to to bring it to the table. So everybody's looking forward to it.
I know.
Thanks for doing it right.
No, the thing is that I mean, we were planning to launch before, but then we understand that the ecosystem wasn't so ready yet. Because I mean, for us, value it's the loans. So if no one is going to borrow because there aren't many projects that they could do arbitrage, anything. I mean, so we could be on live, but stuck on some of, let's say, not very big hype, because again, I said the value for us is loans. And as you can imagine, without having a lot of projects you could use these loans, it's pretty difficult. So it's a good point also of waiting and updating at the till 5 smart contract. So we decided to go for this road.
That's great. Eva, how are we doing for time? You're a timekeeper, designated.
Well, it's 2:35. We have hit the hour and a half, but you know, if anyone wants to add one last thing, you know, feel free.
Yeah, I can throw something in there. Actually, I don't know who's cooking, but let me ask you this question: has anybody seen like a big metaverse event for Algorand NFTs yet? Because that's what we're trying to do. I mean, it's just the beginning; it's the initial event, but again, we kind of want to make it free for everybody. So I'm just going to share something above. Anybody who wants, they could type in that code subscriber, and you could get a free ticket to the event. Dope Cats, Skull Krakens, Cool Tigers, Algo Bones. I don't know if you guys know who D4 is. There's Lost Pigs, and several other artists are going to be there. It's not 100% an NFT event. We are planning something in the future, but this is the initial one, kind of a test. But it should be fun. Everybody's free to attend.
And when is that, man?
Sorry, Thursday.
Thursday?
Yeah.
And there's also a Metaverse auction tonight at
Right.
5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, which will feature a bunch of big series on Algo. Monty's hosting, C Will is performing. It's going to be a Metaverse VR auction. Should be pretty cool for whoever pops out. You know, just to witness maybe some new history being made. D4O, you want to go?
Yeah, just wanted to shout out the project I'm partnered with. Awesome artist, goes by Hands, and it's Algo Hands. He just started launching. He's got another drop on Thursday. 9 a.m. is when it starts Eastern time. It's going to end at 9 p.m. Eastern time on Algo X NFT. So he's going to list 12 of them, and they're just going to cascade and end 1 hour after each other. So check that out. Pretty cool.
Fire. Love it. A lot of cool stuff happening right now as we. Sorry, my headphones disconnected. As we ramp.
Is he getting rugged?
No, my mic keeps disconnecting me. My bad. Just gonna say, you know, 2 weeks till Decipher. Probably gonna see a lot of cool stuff coming out soon. I'm dropping an interview with Kyle Wang, the Kyle Wang, later today. So actually, Chris, you did snipe that.
I was gonna say, where's my free NFT?
Okay, just DM me your wallet address. I'll give it to you. Yeah, so Kyle Wang, cool interview. He talks about Algoanas, different NFTs, like why he's invested in NFTs, why VCs like NFTs. Not just about NFTs, though. They talk about different aspects of the Algorand ecosystem. But it's about a 45-minute interview, but there will be clips on Twitter later today. So stay tuned for that. And Kyle's a pretty funny guy, so it's a fun one. Anybody else have any last plugs they wanna drop?
Well, I mean, if we're shilling stuff, no, really, I've got an NFT project dropping next week, Saturday, that I partnered with Climate Trade on. The community is going to vote on which projects we are sponsoring with Climate Trade. If you aren't familiar with Climate Trade, they're a carbon credit company. They do they help projects that are like doing like reforestation and solar ovens and clean water, that kind of thing. So we'll have 4 different projects. We'll put it up for a vote on the Twitter space, or not in the Twitter space, but just in a tweet. And so watch that, and we'll have videos out explaining each project. And you'll see like some mainstream press releases come out this week. So keep an eye out for that. We'll get the news out.
Sounds
For
dope.
showing as well, I'll show a little bit of reach. If you didn't even build anything out there on Algorand and you want it to be done faster, importantly safer, so you don't have mistakes out there, use reach, and it's the right thing to do.
I'd also like to thank you because Chris said we could use his logo on some of that stuff. So a lot of companies let us use their logo on a bunch of the NFTs that are coming out in support of climate trade and some environmental causes. So thanks, man.
Cool. I mean, it's a great call. Bilal, you wanna jump in?
Yeah, no, I just want to thank everybody, and it was a great call. And yeah, thank you for bringing the Tiny Man pool problem. I'm gonna check it very closely. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. If anyone has any question, like, you can jump in from the listeners. Otherwise, we'll talk again next week, every Sunday.
Or if you have any questions for me in the meantime, jump in our Discord. I'm there.
Yeah.
And then we will be doing a live one on the day before the cipher.
Yep.
Yeah.
In
Love it.
Miami, the Algo
Wow.
fams linking up together for the first time.
I
Gonna
would
be
be
amazing.
so frustrated to not be there.
Epic.
That's so fun. Fucking vaccine.
Hey man, we'll video call you in, bro. You're gonna be right there. You're gonna feel like you're right
Thank
there
you.
with us.
Yeah, I'm gonna be crying, man.
I'll get a cardboard cutout of you, dude. It'll be like you're there. All right. I even
Okay,
put a
cool.
beer in your hand.
That's
Yo,
a deal.
All right.
why don't we just get a chair and print out his profile picture and just tape it?
Oh, we better do that.
That's
That could
beautiful.
be fun. Yeah. Thank you, my friends. That's yeah.
Or
Oh my gosh.
we just put the computer screen there,
Yeah.
like in a chair.
Yeah, and we get a mannequin. We get a mannequin to be the body.
Oh yeah.
All right, y'all. Thanks everyone for popping out. It's a
Thank
great
you,
chat.
everyone.
And be sure to spread some follows around this chat. For the people who you thought were interesting. A lot of cool people in here, and we'll be here same time next Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern. So hope to see you there. And until then, just see you around the metaverse, I guess.
See everyone.
Stay
Yeah, for
safe.
sure.
Thanks,
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, my friends.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.